Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. I'm going to read the scripture and I'll give you the title after the scripture. Don't forget, we're still in the same series entitled Something New. Something New. So last Sunday we talked about new beginnings. So we're still in the same series entitled Something New. And I can suggest to you this, that God does want to do something new in your life. And we ought to be tired of having the same old thing be happening time after time. So it's time for something new. Amen? Amen. So Isaiah chapter 6 verse 1 says, "In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple." Your thing read a little bit different. It says, "The train of his glory filled the temple." But what's important is that in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on the throne, high and lifted up. Let me pray. Spirit of the living God, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. God, I thank you, God, that I decrease so that you may increase in me, God. Stand tall, God. Speak through me, oh God, that somebody's life may be changed for the better. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Amen. So the scripture talks about the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and lifted up. Now I want you to write down 2 Chronicles 26. 2 Chronicles chapter 26. So in your time, somebody say homework. So this is your homework because we will not have Bible study this week. But I'm going to check on you, okay? Did everybody hear me? No Bible study this week, but you have homework. Your homework is to read 2 Chronicles chapter 26 in its Chronicles. 2 Chronicles chapter 26 in its entirety. And it gives you an insight on who King Uzziah was. So for the sake of time, I'm going to I'm going to paraphrase this 26th chapter to tell you about a little about King Uzziah. So King Uzziah became king when he was just 16 years old. Now he reigned as king for 52 years. I don't know about anybody, but that's a long time right there. He served as king for 52 years. You see, what made King Uzziah so special is that he had a prophet by the name of Zechariah. You see, Zechariah was a godly prophet that King Uzziah could trust. So every time the King Uzziah listened to Zechariah, Zechariah always did what was right in God's eyes. Amen? So every time he listened to Zechariah, he did what was right in the eyes of God. But then Zechariah died. Amen? So after Zechariah died, King Uzziah began to make silly mistakes, basically. King Uzziah began to do things that were not right in the eyes of God. So one particular day, King Uzziah went into the temple and began to burn incense. Now, if we know anything about the Bible, that if you were not a priest, you could not go into the temple and burn incense. Somebody had to burn it on your behalf. But King Uzziah began to shun off the priest, tell him, that I'm the king. Basically, I can do what I want to do. So the priest told King Uzziah, he said, because you have disrespected God's house, you will be punished at the hands of God. So King Uzziah shunned it off. At that very moment, somebody said, at that very moment, King Uzziah began to see leprosy on his forehead. He began to have lepers on his forehead. So it was and it spread over his entire body. And we have to think about leprosy. Leprosy was contagious. You couldn't be around anybody that had leprosy. So what happened in the last few years of King Uzziah's reign, he had to go into a separate temple by himself because he now was a leper. He was cast away. Now, according to scripture, we used to look at lepers as somebody who was disgusting, somebody who we didn't want to be around, we want to touch. There was something wrong with him. So this is King Uzziah. Now you got that back part. So in the year that King Uzziah died, this is the prophet Isaiah talking. I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, and his train, his glory filled the room. So may I suggest to you that while King Uzziah was living, that they couldn't see God. I'm going to say it again. While King Uzziah was living, they could not see God. Why? Because King Uzziah exalted himself like he was more important than who he really was. So he exalted himself. He was in the way of the people seeing God because they saw Uzziah as being a God himself. I'm explaining it to you. So the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and lifted up, and his glory filled the room. It's like going to a church and they put more emphasis on the pastor than God. You ever went to that? They're praising the pastor more than they praise God. They'll stand up and clap for the pastor and say, hey, it's our man of God. But when it's time to give God the reverence, they just like, give a little pity pat. Amen? So I want to preach from a message today entitled, It Has to Die. Somebody say, It has to die. So, Pastor, what are you talking about? It. What is it? What it must die? I'm going to tell you, it can be anything in your life that is sucking you. Anything that's in your life that is in the way of you seeing and experiencing God in a refreshing way. Maybe you're still connected to people that you need to disassociate yourself from because it has to die. Maybe you're still connected to people who are still remembering the old you. That relationship has to die. Maybe you knew you should broke up with this joker 10 years ago, 5, even a week ago. That relationship has to die. If it gets in the way of you experiencing God, and if it gets in the way of you pleasing God, then it has to die. It has to die. So I need you to understand that now, when we say die, we think about physical death. But to die can be a spiritual death as well. Amen? So to die, to go away, to leave, to get rid of. So certain things in your life you have to get rid of. It's the same way. Have you ever put some sour meat or anything in a trash can and left it in the house overnight, or you left the house and when you came back it had a terrible smell in it? Amen? So it's the same way. If you keep people in your life who are literally rotting, people in your life who are literally dying right in front of you, as you're gonna have that same odor in your family, not naturally but spiritually, it'll be a stitch to God. Amen? So we have to do things that are pleasing to God. So when we're talking about, hey, I want to experience something new, before God can give you that something new, I gotta let go of the old. Simple as that. If God is going to allow me to experience something new, I've got to let go of the old. Now we talked about that the old things are passed away, and behold, I'm a new creature. But you cannot become new if you're still holding on to the old. Amen? So it has to die. In order for you to fulfill your God-given destiny, it has to die. It can no longer live or take up residence in your life. And when I say, Pastor, what are you talking about? Take up residence, that means it's taking up space in your life. So you have to begin to ask yourself, what is taking up space? What is wasting space in my life that I can allow good people, fruitful people in my life? Amen? Amen. And I'm going to take a note from Apostle Elder yesterday. If it's no longer bearing fruit, you got to let it go. The Bible tells us, it says, by their fruit shall you know them. So begin to ask yourself, are the people that I'm connected to, are the things that's still in my life I'm connected to, am I holding on to it because it's comfortable, because I'm used to it? Because y'all, let's be honest, we'll hold up to a car that we know ain't no good, that we just need to throw away, but it's old faithful. I've had this car forever. This car been with me through everything, through the bad relationship, through the good relationship. This car has been with me for the longest time, and I refuse to let it go. Amen? Because, may I suggest to you that why you still holding on to that old thing? God got some brand new vehicle over here waiting to bless you with. But you won't make your mind up. I need you to leave that Pontiac alone. I'm trying to give you something brand new over here. But you still holding on to this Pontiac. Let this Pontiac go, baby. They don't don't even make the part for this car no more. That's a sign right there. Come on, that car older than you, 30 years old. It's time to let that car. Well, nah, this car's still good. It still got some life into it. I just put a new motor. You could have bought a new car with that motor you to put in there. So we have to begin to let go of things just because it's comfortable, just because we become complacent with the way it is in life. As a song, and I remember in the band, it was Never Satisfied. And I love this song. And it has become an anthem in my life. I'm never satisfied with the way life is. Why? Because I know I serve a God who has greater and can do greater. Because he is greater than I. And greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. So since my God has greater, why are we settling? Why are you settling? Somebody say it has to die. Come on, somebody say it again. It has to die. It has to die. I want to be before you long. I'm almost done. I want to tell you this. If people want to walk out of your life, let them walk. See, that was the hardest thing for me to grasp, because if somebody walked away from me, I'm trying to save and salvage this relationship. Come on, we can make this work. Come on, you ain't got to go nowhere. And here is the reality, that you know it's time to leave a relationship alone. Take one day, don't text them, don't call them. I guarantee you, they won't text you, won't call you. Because guess what? You are the common denominator that's holding their relationship together. So you got to get to a point, baby, I ain't going to text you, I ain't going to call you, I ain't going to go out of my way to make this work. If it's going to go, I'm going to let it go. So if people want to leave, let them leave. I want to tell you about a particular story. Is everybody familiar with the story about Naomi and Ruth? Everybody know about Boaz, right? Boaz and Ruth. You've heard about it before. So for most people, they leave out parts of the story. And I want to tell you, before they left Moab, they were headed to Bethlehem. It was Naomi, which was the mother-in-law. Then you have Orpah, and then you have Ruth. So as they begin to travel, now you have to understand, now Orpah and Ruth's husbands both died. They died in the war. See, Orpah's husband was Chilion. He died, and Ruth's husbands died as well, as they were living in Moab. And because they died, they decided, well, let's return to Bethlehem, because we still have some land in Bethlehem. So Naomi decided, say, hey, I'm gonna get my two daughter-in-laws and we're gonna leave. But Orpah decided that I don't want to leave. So Orpah did not leave. Orpah returned to Moab. Now I said all that. Imagine if Ruth and Naomi would have stayed and went back with Orpah. Ruth would have never met Boaz, even though he did die that same day. She would have never met him. But there's a long story to this, and I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna go through the genealogy real quick. Orpah was the mother of Goliath, and Ruth was the great-grandmother of David. Anybody caught it? David slew Goliath. It is amazing to me that one decision to either leave or go will kill your entire family. Come on now, we got to get this to remember. Now we're talking about death or killing. We're talking about spiritual, not natural death. But it's that one decision. Because what happened? As years went past off, all of Orpah's children, her second husband, her grandchildren were all killed off because of the war. But Ruth's children went on to live. David went on to live. And you have to understand, not only that, Ruth, Jesus was in the lineage of Ruth, can be traced back. So their generation went on to live. One decision can put you in lineation, can put you in the place where God wants you to be. Just that one decision. So what if Oprah would have made the decision, well, hey, I'm going to follow Naomi and Ruth and go to Bethlehem? Because here is the reality. You have to understand why Oprah made the decision that she made it. You see, Bethlehem was going through a famine. But Moab was not. Because you have to understand that she was the granddaughter of a queen. Oprah was. So Oprah said, well, I'll go and return home because at least I'll have somewhere to lay my head and something to eat. But Oprah didn't trust God. If she would have, it would have made a world difference. But Oprah went back. Now, one thing we have to understand, Oprah means the nape of the neck or the back. I'll say it again. Oprah means the nape of the neck, which is this, or your back. The nape, that's that little bone right there, that little part right there. So, she was given, now, her real name is not Oprah. She was given the name Oprah because she turned her back on Naomi and Ruth. But Naomi sought the Lord on what to do. So in essence, when she turned her back on Naomi, she turned her back on God. And baby, I came to this morning that if anybody is willing and bold enough to turn their back on God, baby, just let them go. Don't chase after them. Don't call them. They made the decision that they made. And guess what? You are better off without them because of the decision that they have made. And this is going to be the hard part. They can even be family. Baby, I'm going to learn to love you from a distance. I ain't going to chase you. I ain't going to call you. I ain't going to beg you to be in my life because I'm somebody special. And you gotta have that mentality about you. I am somebody, I'm important around here. What that movie said, you is smart, you is pretty, you is beautiful. That was the help one. You is all that in a bag of chips. And you gotta have that mentality about you. But baby, if you leave me, you better understand who you leaving. Because I am there. Who y'all understand who you are? I'm a child of the Most High God. According to Scripture, you're the head and not the tail. Above and not beneath. You're a lender, not a borrower. Believe me. Man want to leave your life. Let him leave. According to Scripture, you are the favor factor. If he left, that's so be it. God got something better in store for you. So we don't have time to cry and complain and to moan. Why? There are no pity parties in the kingdom of God. Amen. I'm going to say it again. There are no pity parties in the kingdom of God. When something has to die, it has to die. Yes, now let me give you these points. Now there are some type of people that you need to stay away from. And I'm going to tell you those type of people. Amen? Amen. The first person you need to stay away from, I call them the emotional suckers. The emotional suckers. They always got something going on. Always got some drama going on. Some always mess, always popping off. Every time you see them, they crying. They going through something. They always depressed. Baby, go get you some help. Find you Jesus and a therapist. But don't find yourself sucked into that situation. Number two, the naysayers. They ain't got nothing positive to say at all. Every time you begin to talk about I'm getting my life right with God. Well, you know, you said that last year, you still don't want this. Naysayers. Number two, let them go. And then the me time destroyers. Every time you put your phone on silent, every time you go to the nail shop, every time you get in the barber shop chair, every time you get ready to spend time with just you by yourself, they always come blowing up your phone. It's an emergency. Ain't no emergency. It's never an emergency. That's the me time destroyers. The me time destroyers. They destroy your me time. And what you need to learn in life is that your me time is important, especially if you got children, because you don't get that much me time. Especially if you got grandchildren. You don't get that much me time. So your me time is precious. Amen? Amen. The narcissist. The narcissist. We got surrounded. Greenville is full of narcissists. They were on Facebook. They released recently the new drawings for the new federal building. And I'm excited about the federal building. It's going to bring, 100 plus new jobs that we didn't have, well-paying jobs. But you got narcissists. Well, our streets need to be fixed before they do that. Where they getting money from that? Let them move on. You can go to. Ain't no room for you either. You got to let them go. And then the last one, the judgmentals. The judgmentals. The last one are the judgmentals. Let them go as well. Well, Pastor, why am I letting the judgmentals go? Because you can live your life because they always watching you, got something to say. Well, ain't you a Christian? Don't you do all that? I am. But I'm going to live my best life. And I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest. And I ain't going to let you stop me. Because if you allow the judgmental, the ones that claim to be holier than thou, they'll tell you all you can do is go to church, go to home, go to work, and that's all you can do. Amen? Amen. So y'all, it is important. So, now, you need to be asking yourself 3 questions, and I'm done. Amen? Asking yourself 3 questions about the relationships in your life. Amen? The first question, does it make me feel alive? Does it make me feel alive? Does this relationship make me feel alive? Or is it a dead relationship? Because if it's dead, it's dead. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You can't revive it. You can't say, clear. You can't resuscitate this relationship at all. It is, baby, it's just dead. It's just, man, that is just, it's dead. I can't resuscitate as much as I want to. Clear! Now you tired, divorce her, because you yelling clear. Come on, it's a dead relationship. Then ask yourself, this number 2 question, ask yourself, how important is this relationship? Really, how important is this relationship? If they go tomorrow, will you miss them? You gonna cry over them? You gonna shed a tear? Is this important? Really, is this relationship really important? Are you tired of them being a leech? Every time they call you, they ask you for $5 or your last $2. Baby, you can't do nothing. They keep asking for your money, ask for your money. Can you? And then they get mad at you about your own money. Not your last. Come on, not my last $2. And then the next one. This is, this is the last one. Does it make sense to stay in this relationship? Now keep in mind, when we say relationships, we mean all types of relationships. Friendships, eros relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with co-workers, relationships with family members. Does it make sense to stay in this relationship? Come on, be honest. Sit down and weigh out the pros and cons. Make you a list. Well, should I really stay in this relationship? If I do this, and they all, every time they call me, they're always mad at me, and they keep cussing me out and all this, and just maybe sit down and weigh out the pros and your cons. They ain't never there for me when I need them, but they always expect me to be there for them. You begin to weigh out relationships. They always calling my phone in the middle of the night. Who can I talk to? Who can I run to? I'm throwing out songs now. Who can I depend on? When Christmas time come around, when you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight. They be crying about me. I've been throwing out songs now. Amen? So I want you to sit out and weigh out your pros and your cons. You gotta really do the y'all because it's important. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna say this one more time. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and lifted up, and his glory filled this room. May I suggest to you, the moment you get bold enough in your life and say that this thing has to die, you will begin to see God show up mighty in your life. Somebody ought to be excited about this. In the year that I let go of dead relationships, dead people, and dead things, I can see God in a mighty and a new and refreshing way. It got to die. It got to die. Amen? Amen.